Hey everyone, welcome to our new Short Back and Sides podcast. First dates and kind of like experiences that we've had and how it's kind of changed from back in the day, you know, when we were youths and stuff like that, and to like now, like people's perspective on it. So open up the floor.
Cool. First dates, man. Boy. Yeah. I remember first time I took a girl out, you kind of always like, you got the planning to do, innit? Like you go to the barbers, you get a trim, like, and you kind of like think about where to go. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously now that we're older, there's a lot of pressure, innit? Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of pressure.
Wow, the pressure is getting worse.
Because with all this Instagram stuff going on and stuff like that, it's always a bit more difficult. I think on a personal sort of hygiene level, and how everything is.
Man said hygiene, you know. That caught me by surprise.
You got like them. They've got them Manscaped adverts, isn't it? So, you know, so like you see them things there, like this. At least you know, like I can come up and looking fresh. Yeah. But what I'm always nervous about though is the venue, because you see how girls, they claim they're not materialistic. They claim that they just want a good man that basically is going to look after them. But bro, we all know, let's just be honest, if you take her to a dead destination, you ain't getting nothing. You're not going past the first stage. Let's just be honest. So I always find, the pressure is always about where to take the girl to, especially if you want to get to know her.
I think it's a very, very valid point, and I would agree with you. But I think also a good test of a woman is if you take them to a dead place. Yeah. Like if you take them to a dead place and you can create a vibe with a chick, then I reckon it's on. Like if you take a chick to a place and it's mediocre and she turns up and before she's even stepped in, you get that vibe from her like, nah, I'm not on this.
100%.
I don't know if that's going to be a chick that you're going to be able to vibe with.
So what dead place would you say?
Not dead place, but I say more like, we're not spending, I'm not coming across like a cheapskate, but like something that's like a coffee shop or like dessert place or something.
Place though.
What, coffee shop?
Nah. See, do you know what? I don't know.
Depends what coffee you go to.
No, hold on.
Well, there's Starbucks and there's Nero, do you know what I mean?
Not every coffee shop is generic though in London, right? Yeah. Like when you think about it,
like,
see,
like Black Sheep.
Yeah.
When you put a label on it, that for me is where the pressure comes. When we're saying this is a date, but like me personally, I can't even tell you what a date is. I was thinking that as you guys were talking, because like I see things kind of like naturally happen or whatever. I tried to avoid labels. So for me, if then we're going to some nice coffee shop in Hampstead Heath or something, that's chill. And then it depends on what I guess your intention is or how the build up has been. You know what I mean?
I think you're right, Pax, because at the end of the day, it's about what do you want the outcome of the first encounter to be, or the second encounter. So let's say you got the number, you arrange the date or whatever it is. Is it going to be, are you going there for wifey? Or are you going there for the rumble in the bedroom?
You know what I'm saying? There's the psychology of the woman though. Because we can go in there thinking, okay, this is going to be a nice vibe, get to know her at a coffee shop. Whereas a woman will be looking at that, which is, unfortunately, is this what he thinks I'm worth? Do you know what I mean? It would be, you know what I mean? So if you go somewhere, you take maybe like, I don't know, prep, and you're using your prep membership. But from our point of view,
Pret is big beach, man. If I take a chick to my lunch to Pret, she should be looking at me like, rah.
To be fair though, it's only a problem if you got a lot of points, isn't it? Then it's a problem. If the points are low, you're alright.
But the thing is, a woman will look at that and thinking, this guy, do you know what I mean? I'm not even worth X, Y, and Z. So,
but also, on the flip side, bro, if you take the chick to like Noble Hakkasan, first date, you've got to keep up. You got to maintain that expectation.
Maintain that.
And so like it's a lot. And also let's keep it 100. The most 9 times out of 10, if you want to demonstrate some form of leadership and some form of assertiveness in the relationship, she's going to expect you to choose the place. Yeah. So you've got to make sure that your choice is on point.
Absolutely.
If your choice is on the par, as you say, below her expectation, it turns out the date might not go the way you want to. So it's I think it's a lot of pressure, first and foremost. It's a lot of pressure on the man then, really.
So quick question then. So who should pay for a first date?
Personally,
yeah.
It should be 50-50.
It should be 50-50.
I wouldn't want to do 50-50, but like if like
there's a lot of should be's in this world. That's what I'm saying.
No, it should be 50-50, but
yeah, it should be.
Is that with you making the approach?
I'm happy paying you.
Like, is that?
See, that's what P touched on. For me, the most important point. So, if someone asks me that question, I say yes and no.
Yeah.
I say whoever asks. So if I ask you on a date, I'm paying. If you ask me on a date, you're paying. Yeah. If I get there and you've invited me to this lush place and the bill comes and you're looking and crickets are ringing, I'm vexed because you invited me out.
But the thing, but if a guy's getting asked, he's a select guy, right? If a woman's asking a guy, I mean, times have changed, absolutely. Yeah. But if you're a guy and you're getting asked out, you are a select. That's elite. Right?
No. I don't know about that.
Maybe I'm in a minority, but no chicks come to me. But then you know what? Even if a woman did, let's get a scenario. If a woman came to you and asked you on a date, wouldn't you question that?
No,
not at all. I wouldn't at all.
See, I think it depends on the interactions leading up to it, right?
Yeah.
So like, if I personally feel if a girl is to ask me on a date or something, I'd suspect they probably feel that they're comfortable, or they've got to that place where, do you know what, I know a bit about him, this and that. Like any sort of date I've been on, there's never been like, apart from one, not really spontaneous like that.
Yeah.
Brethren, that's a unicorn. No girls ever invite me on a date ever. No. Like, do you know what a woman would do? A woman will package herself for me to either draw her, or she would sort of like, you know, she would kind of hint for me to get the number, and then I kind of have to pursue it. You know what I'm saying? But I've never been asked, Mike, I would love to take you out for a meal.
And to be honest, for me, that would be
never happened.
That would be I would take it suspect.
But
because
why
though? Let me explain. The reason why I would think that is because I look at things, the way something begins tends to set the tone for how something goes through, right? And if she is the initiator, okay, what else is she going to be the initiator on?
Hopefully.
What man's saying is he doesn't want to be put on the countertop.
Do you know what I mean? So like, but what's next? Yeah. You know, I look at it in that way because I'm the man, I'm the guy that's supposed to lead, right? That's just traditionally how it is. I'm more traditional in that way. Then, you know, she makes herself, I think a woman makes herself available. And then I choose as to whether I'm going to initiate. You know, it's that old school drop in the hanky, whatever it is, but a modern version. I choose. But if she's there, like, so
what's going on? What we saying?
Do you know what I mean? I'm not personally too comfortable with that.
So do you pay though?
Do I pay?
Regardless of the circumstance. So let's just assume there's this unicorn woman that takes you out on a date.
Oh, what? She asks me out, and then I say yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I go against my nature and say,
no, you pay.
No, I'm not paying.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's what he's saying.
Hold on. That's a good question because you know what? I think at that point I wouldn't know because everything's upside down.
Yeah.
It's new. This is new. I'd have to Google. You have to go on YouTube.
What do you do in this situation?
But because
Canvas.
That's not something that I'm familiar with. But that's my point. At that point, now everything is a bit topsy turvy. She's initiated it. So then who says where we're going?
Yeah.
Right, and then next thing, you know, I'm coming. She's moving the chair for me.
That's a lot, isn't it?
You know. So what? It's just topsy-turvy, and I think she wouldn't be interested in that, and I wouldn't really be attracted to a woman that would do that anyway, in my opinion.
Even we talking A-class team. I'm talking
Imagine banging.
I'm talking banging.
Everything is in the right proportions.
But I would say, but already, if that's the case, if it's this otherworldly 10 that seems to just float in, that's a red flag.
That's a red flag. Even as I say it, I was like, that's a red flag.
Already I'm like
on edge.
Would you not at least want a sample?
Yeah, like listen, Pass, using your analogy, because you know nowadays women are very assertive, innit? So you got women that in top positions doing top things and going, and they go getting women. You know what I'm saying? They can perform in sales, they can perform at high level. So you can understand why a woman of that caliber may well want to pursue a man that she likes. I can understand that.
No, definitely, I get that.
And so if a woman is that way inclined, there's a possibility that she may well ask for a date. But I also do think that women are still women at the end of the day. They like to be wanted. They like to be courted. They like to be chased. Do you know what I'm saying?
But don't you think in getting to that point, like, I don't know, obviously I don't know what's inside a woman's head, but I would assume...
Who does? Above the moon.
But I would assume that leading up in that conversation, that would come out.
Yeah.
So they must that person who would ask the question must have some basis to ask it.
Yeah. I think it becomes like a generational thing, isn't it? I don't think if you're like 18, wet behind the ears, and you're a girl, you're going out and doing that. But I think there's I would suspect a certain personality that you've grown into. You've realised what's gone wrong, what direction you're going in, and you see a man, and you realise that actually, you know what, life is short. If I let this dude go, that could be the one.
Yeah.
And if you're prepared to put yourself out, and the guy interacts with you and says, hey, okay, then, and it's a hybrid situation, there's no lying, like it's a bit different.
Yeah.
But then I can't see why then a girl can't then step back, or you can't take that. I think if we're talking, I agree with you in certain things. I'm more of a traditional man in the sense I feel like a man fills a particular role and the woman fills another role. So when they kind of step out of roles, it's a bit... But I do think though, as relationships progress and grow, if you're in a long-term relationship, there will be times where you will merge some roles. If you're going to make that relationship work and your family's going to grow, sometimes your woman's going to be a bit more masculine, you're going to be a bit more feminine. You get what I mean?
Yeah, but
it's that kickoff.
That's the way it sets the tone.
It's the way, I mean, that just starts everything off, and women, a big part isn't about you. It's about how she can then talk about that to her girlfriends. Yeah. That's a big story.
She's lost a big story.
Especially on the first date. Because do you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna get onto their brethren. They're gonna say, so how was it? Where did he take you?
Yeah.
Where did you not do? Where did you not go? Where did you not eat? You know what I'm saying? And 9 times out of 10, she might want to be taking picture of the meal, or she might be want to take pictures of or selfie of where she's at. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a lot of pressure on the man to make the right call, because if he makes the wrong call, because sometimes in a mad way it's like a chess game, right? Because I kind of pre this when I was a youth. When I was a youth, I was going on bare dates. I realised I had to impress her brethren, because if I impressed her brethren, I knew I could get the nans. Because their brethren were like, oh, he's a good guy. My man's never take me this way. Because I was playing chess. I was moving bishops and knights and all sorts. I knew exactly what I had to do. Do you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes he's not, because he's the chick. He's their brethren that will open sesame it for you. Because they'll be like, he seems like a good guy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's special.
So you got sometimes you got to think 2-3 steps ahead. So sometimes you got to go slightly above expectations to get what you're looking for, if you're that way inclined. But if you are looking for a long-term partner where you want to build with, because at the end of the day, nothing, very few of us have got the resources to move a girl into a fat house or whatever. You're gonna have to kind of build that relationship and build that trust. And I think, the first date depends on the caliber of the person, the substance of the person, and my intention in the relationship. That's basically it.
Don't you think things have changed though? Like, obviously, when we were growing up, you could do that. So you could take a girl on a nice date, and she's in it, as in she's on you.
Like a nice date back in the day wouldn't have been somewhere in the shard.
Yeah, it wouldn't be in the shard. There wouldn't be gaucho. Yeah. It wouldn't be these big things.
You could just find somewhere around the corner that had a nice ambience.
Yeah.
And the exchange would go, the bill would come, you'd snap that up.
Yeah.
The girl would say, wow, this must have cost some money.
The thing for me now is I know certain girls who only call certain mans for them big dates, and so they've got certain mans on their phone as food 5.
Well, but the thing, I think you're right. So there's a change where now a lot of women are more predatory in how they're doing this. You know, it's not even in interest in the guy. It's about I've forgotten the phrase for it, but where they go out on dates and just for the food, right? So that's there. But I think the big difference is there wasn't social media a few years back. Okay.
Social media changed
exactly. So there wasn't a platform to show off. And what that meant was, you know, the date was genuine. Now it's an opportunity, as we said before, to take photos of the venue, to take photos of the food, to take a selfie, you know, all these, but there's no guy there.
Exactly, never the guy there.
Just no guy, but it's
just FOMO, man. It's FOMO
out.
lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's what's then used as social clout, right? So you've now, dating now is absolutely 101% not what it was.
That's why I don't
a few years ago. So, I mean, it really isn't. Now it's, you know, I really feel for a lot of these young guys coming up. I really feel for them because you've got a lot of guys that genuinely really do want a relationship or to pursue something, get married or whatever. But it is blood sport. Do you know what I mean? It's now with social media and it also being open, you know, a pretty girl can.
That's it. Their marketplace is Instagram. They just go, boom, here's my market. And, you know, I let the market decide how hot I am. And boom.
And that's a shame because, you know, a pretty girl years ago would have just got with a guy, they would have got married, had kids, boom, 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 boom. Now she's like, well, actually, I can get X, Y, and Z. It's like the Hollywood effect, but on your phone. Do you know what I mean? And that's creating a culture where there's so many young guys that just they're just priced out of the market.
And on that note, then choosing the first. Go back to my point. As a brother, if you try to link a thing and take you out somewhere, knowing that this thing will be of a certain caliber, certain standard, certain look standard, there could be 50 mans on the DM saying, "Look, he took you where? I can take you there." Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you got mans flying chicks. I know mans will fly chicks over from different countries or fly chicks to countries just for like a long weekend. So it's made, as you said, it's hard out there, bro.
Game's changed, bro.
It's kind of crazy. So you kind of have to stand out. You kind of have to find something, kind of connect with a girl on a level that's kind of very unique.
Do you know what it is? I think this is my controversial perspective. I'm putting a disclaimer out. I think that there's something that's key, that's different between men and women. I see us as like a stock. And our stock has different value at different times. When you're a man and you're like in your late teens, early 20s, your stock is almost worthless.
Not almost.
But whereas a woman's stock is exponential. Do you get what I mean? Like off the chart. So you're trying to get them women, just forget about it. But what happens over time is their stock depreciates and a man's stock starts to increase, like especially if you're a serious guy. So like you've spent time working on yourself, you look after your body, you've got a good career, you start making money and stuff like that. Your stock starts to increase, whereas as a woman ages, their stock starts to decrease. And I think it's just at that stage where like you have to be looking, if you're a young man, really, you have to just be focused on yourself. If you're saying you're looking for that woman, you have to really focus on yourself, nail what you're getting done, and, you know, nail those factors, look after your body, make sure your career's on point, make sure your money's right. And you hit a certain age, you know, where you're like, right, I'm in my purple patch now, and your value is tanking. And you could then go back, controversial, but you can go back and say that 20-year-old, I like you. And that 20-year-old will listen. Do you know what I mean? And
also, you can be more consistent in your destinations. So if you say you want to take your gauchos, you can take your gauchos monthly because you got the paper to actually back it up. But also, like, let's be honest. Some of those young men, they wanna get an experience of the norms like today. So so if they want experience with a woman, what advice would I give my younger self if I was 20 trying to get a young girl, knowing
stay single.
knowing that, look, you know, don't worry about the buff thing that you're after right now, because trust me, in 10, 15 years time, you're going to be patterned, and you're going to be patterned so much that they're going to be looking at you. But nobody tells us that when we're younger.
That was
chasing. We're chasing, as you say, the buffest 20-year-old. They don't pay us no attention. Even when you remember school days. Do you remember when we were in school?
I remember school.
Mando used to come out in them XR2s and XR3s. And then you're like, you're a big man.
Yeah, you're a big man. Big hardback man.
And you,
big brother. Full on beards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
taking our skirt, bro.
I never understood it.
But the thing is, you're asking young guys to wait 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Right? Even though we understand, it's easier for us now in this space to be able to say that because we have the means.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, as to whether you have the freedom, that's a different thing.
Okay, so...
But when I say 10, 15 years, I'm also saying, this is with my hat on, saying if you're looking for that woman that you're saying, I'm ready, you know, I want to have kids with, this is where my family's at, that's the advice I'd give. If you're looking just to chase skirt, it's a whole different...
But you know,
if you look into Smash, sorry, Pat, but if you look into Smash, I don't think you need to go on the first date.
I'm going to say to you, bro, technology is doing bits.
So many applications.
Technology is doing bits.
If that's what
in
you're
your
after,
bed, just like,
if that's what you're after. You know, sorry, Pat, I didn't
No,
mean
see, so what I was going to say, like, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think when you're talking about dating, etc., the way that I'm just going to say my opinion, the way you guys have said is that, well, like, when you go on these dates, it's quite fixed. There's an intention of some sort.
Yeah.
Irrelevant what that is, but it's quite fixed. Me personally, whenever I've been in that situation, I've never really that early on ever thought, do you know what, this is where I want it to go or whatever. I just kind of go with the flow. And I think if you put that pressure, me personally, if I put that pressure on myself, then I'd be like, oh, I need to come up with the most elaborate thing or whatever. So like, there was this one chick I met down in the bar and really vibed and whatever. I said, okay. And it was one of the very few times we said, okay, let's go on a date. I've never really said that.
Same here. I've never used that term really.
And then she goes to me, okay, pick something unique. And I'm like,
oh, she's hit you, bro.
I was like, unique, right? So I'm like thinking, scratching my head, yeah. And you know what? I thought, I'm going to make this difficult for them too. Now, yeah, because if you're going to test me, I'm going to test you too.
Yeah.
So I hope this person don't watch this, but I took this girl to a pottery class. That was very Anglo-Saxon. We were the only non. And we sat through that 2-hour session making pottery and all that, and I still actually got the piece of pottery because it's actually quite a good day.
Well, I think that's
but
big.
That's it.
Like
that's
when I was thinking about it, when I told my boys, they were like, "Are you fucking dumb, bro? Pottery?" And I was like, "Let's just see how it rolls, innit?"
Yeah.
Didn't secure the second date, but it wasn't because of pottery. But yeah,
but on that
To be
note,
continued,
I went on a date, and I took a young lady to British Museum.
that's a sick date.
And that was a bad boy date.
Yeah.
She didn't even expect that because nobody had taken her to the museum. But I had a game plan. My game plan was like, you know, when you get to know someone, sometimes you're not sure how it's going to go. You don't know whether the conversation is going to flow. And I said to myself, okay, where can I go where I can walk and relax? Because when I walk and relax, you can kind of like, you know, you can control your breathing. And if you run out of things to say, you're like, oh my God, look at these things.
What does this make you feel like?
Like, this is immense, you know, this is great. Look how old this is. And even, I didn't know if the chick was into history, but one thing I did know is that it allowed us to kind of have this kind of interaction, and the environment around me helped me. So if I run out of bars or run out of things to say, you know, there was other things that could keep me going. And do you know what? That date stuck out in her mind, and I'm pretty sure that I got the nouns thereafter because it was because she didn't expect me to be in it like that. Do you know what I'm saying? She thought, you know what, this guy's different. And then sometimes, as I was trying to say earlier, sometimes you can't really compete. Okay, you can get a brother that can take you somewhere super expensive, but
if he ain't got no swagger,
you've got to have the substance to kind of stand out from the rest. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. Whether it's pottery or whether it's the museum team.
But then to come back to your thing about today, and like I think we were saying like 20-year-olds, etc.
Yeah.
They have that facility too to make themselves something, to make themselves be different. Like they don't have to conform to
100%
Instagram or whatever. And there are, you know, from the workplace we was at, there are people in their like early 20s that are doing really well.
Yeah, 100%.
Focused on their career. So I think there's a balance there.
But do you know why that works in what you're saying is because I think, again, tapping into our genetics and like how men are wired and women are wired, I think having that ability to be different and to be yourself and to express that to a woman shows that you're a leader, shows that you don't care and you're dominant.
Yeah.
You know, you can do something that other people look at and be like, that's a bit. But if you do that with confidence, that's like, oh right, this is a man. You know, do you know what I mean? So I think that's a big part, is having that confidence to be who you are and to be you. If that makes sense.
I think if it's for me, I think there's a difference between a girl and a woman.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like one of the things, I was dating a girl. I remember there was another girl, and my mate had met the two, and my friend said to me, he's like, "Why are you wasting your time with this girl? That's a woman." And what I realized when he said that, and I was thinking about the relationships, the two different relationships running side by side, and I realized that the woman actually was content with herself, her position in her mind, life, etc.
Yeah.
The only thing she wanted from someone else was safety zone. But if you ask me what that is, it was multiple things. But then that's something that not always is cash minded, I think. So I think, you know, I'd be honest, I haven't dated for a long time. It sounds like I'd probably not be dateable, because I wouldn't be that sort to be like, we're going to go gout shows, we're going to go this and whatever. I'd take them for a walk down the Thames and get to know someone.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that I've done quite a few times. That's like your museum thing, but you're absolutely right. Yeah. You need to understand what that person is. Then you can even think about what does that turn into or whatever.
Yeah. Because I think...
and that's where coffee comes in.
Well, when it comes to dating, you should build a crescendo. You know what I mean? You can't just go all in, because, you know, circumstances change, And if you're trying to create lasting relationships, I'm just going to drop it. If you want to get to marriage, when the vows are like for better, for worse, you want to be able to get to a stage where, you know, the woman that you're dating, or the person, the individual that you're dating, can sort of accept whatever circumstance you may find yourself in, whether it's highs and lows, because the reality of relationships is the beautiful thing about dating and about courtship is that it's the fantasy aspect of it. It's the chase. It's the mystery of the individual getting to know someone. But when you're fully embarked in a relationship, that's when it really happens.
That's the downs, isn't it? You go through certain times you're up, certain times you're down. You need someone to be.
That is our safety zone. As a guy, that is.
What I was going to say on that is just the difference between like an interview and the job. Because ultimately that's what it is. Do you know what I mean? You know, but it is. And you think about it.
It's like interviewing for the MI5, 6 months minimum.
It's
no probation.
But it's you put your best foot forward. You say all these things, you know, and so does the other person. The employer does it as well. They say, this is great. You love this place, and and you know, then you got, obviously, if you get the role, then you've got the probation period, you know what I mean? And then once you get past that, then it's
holiday, you're like, that's it.
Then you're into the real deal. Then the meat,
unauthorized absence.
But then
how did we end up in HR?
That's the reality of it. You know, that's just human nature. You know, we all do it, and there's nothing wrong in it. I don't think so. But I think this generation is just so different to us in terms of, I know the culture now is you get groups where, you know, they'll be having sex before the date. Do you understand? The culture is completely different. And I think it goes back to what Mike was saying about intention, and what really is the intention here. Do you really want to get to know someone? Do you want to date? Do you want to? Is it cohabit? Is it marriage? Because there's just such a plethora of variations now that it's just confusing. You know, like when we were younger, it was really, if I'm honest, and every generation says this though.
Yeah.
Every generation says it was it was simpler. It was always simpler. It was simpler in my day, but it was.
It
wasn't it?
was.
Do you know what I mean?
More clear cut.
It was clear cut. Now you've injected the culture with social media.
I think it's the internet and social media.
Exactly.
It leaves everybody in the back of their mind thinking, "Can I do better?"
Yeah.
And I think women are even more susceptible to that. Can I do better?
And the reality is,
so their head stays on a swivel. Like,
and that's the problem, because you, with a lot, you probably could.
Yeah. That's the thing.
You know what I mean? And that is part, but that's human nature.
Yeah.
Again, that's why these platforms make so much money.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're always, it's like, you know, the old phrase about keeping up with the Joneses, or the grass is always greener. That comes from fallen human nature, where we're always like, you can have the best thing.
Yeah.
The best thing's right there.
Your neighbour rocks up with the next thing and you're like, shit, I need that.
Exactly. So how do you fight that?
Yeah.
But also, like, we've also got to we've got to spin this a little bit, or consider some nuances in first dates, because we are all of a particular sort of background, ethnic background. You've got some cultures
What are you trying to say?
No.
I'm joking.
What I'm trying to say is that you've got some cultures who date to marry. Yeah. No, but this is a serious point. You've got some cultures who date with the intention of marrying, not just to get to know somebody. They don't have business. You get to know that person when you get married to them. So, like, culturally, depending on where you're from, or depending on what your ethnic persuasion is, you'll find that, you know, if you're courting somebody, you're dating someone, it's not going to be a waste of time for either you or the person that you are essentially talking to, because when they're lining up this individual for you, they expect you to follow through all the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you're scoring that goal. You're not just coming back to say, oh yeah, we went out, we didn't, you know, I didn't like her, she doesn't like pizza or whatever.
She ate with her mouth open.
It don't really work like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we're talking about first date, I guess, from a westernized point of view, but we got to also consider some cultural nuances. So what I'm saying is that if you're a man of a particular palette of women that likes women of all backgrounds and all cultural races, whatever they're from, sometimes you got to bear that in mind. Like there's been times where I've had to think twice about chirping a certain girl or type of girl, because I'm like, yo, I remember, I'll tell you a story. There was this young lady at uni. She was from Eritrea, beautiful girl. Stunner, you know, stunner. That's all I can say. Beautiful women down there. But she was telling me straight, like, look, because she comes from a more traditional background, if she's seeing somebody, her mum and dad are expecting, like, these dudes could one day become my son-in-law. You know, so she kept herself. You know, I'm not trying to disclose who she is or whatever, but she kept herself, you know, in a manner that we would consider to be pure and to be and you know, to be conservative, because she wanted to sort of engage with male company that would lead to something more long term. Do you know what I'm saying? So even then, I had to hold back, or I had to make a conscious decision to say, yo, Mike, if you're not ready for this journey, then you know you got to basically let that go.
But that ultimately is, you know, what you're saying about the West and Western dating. I mean, dating itself is Western, right? Because every other culture, the moment that you mentioned there, family, the moment that family, the father is involved, not so much the mum. Yeah. But when the father, no, but seriously though, when the father and the brothers are involved,
it's for good reason.
It's for a reason. And when I was a kid, when I was growing up, I used to look, for example, I used to look at especially the Indian community, and I said, wow, they're really strict. You know, they're really restrictive and all that sort of stuff. But now, if I'm honest, do you know what I mean?
I was literally just thinking that when I was younger, I was thinking they're so restricted. Like what they're doing, they're not living life. Now I've aged, I'm like, clarity. They know what they're doing,
and I respect their culture. I respect the fact that, and don't get me wrong, we all went to kind of interracial, you know, kind of schools and things like that. So we know full well how everyone was acting.
Yeah, exactly.
But However, the end result, right, was you see a cohesive culture, you see families, you see children, you see generations, and you see that. Removing that element, there is complications, and that's what I think we're seeing now.
In the society.
And if the moment that there's if you're serious and you're interested in someone, if her family are involved, by nature, we all know it as men. You're just different.
Yeah, of course.
Right? You're just different. When she's talking about my dad and my brother, you're gonna, do you know what I mean? You're gonna get a different response. And a lot of girls, the reason is that I really feel a lot of girls don't involve, if they do have a family unit, don't involve them because it will scare guys off, and it's supposed to.
Exactly.
Right? It's supposed to filter out to the right ones, and the thing is, when they see the right ones, they might not want the right ones.
That's and that's what I say again. What goes back to the point I was mentioning about the stock value. That is, the brothers and the dads are protecting. They understand the system, so they're protecting.
Because we men.
Exactly. Men, we're men at the end of the day. We are genetically designed to do one thing, and if no one stops us, what we're going to do. So a man knows a man very well.
A killer knows a killer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're protecting the girl's stock value and saying, no, he's not got your best interests at heart. This is where you want to go. So, yeah.
But I mean, look, even going back to what Reece said earlier, back in the day, even in the West, the father was involved in the whole dating, the whole courtship, process.
Yeah.
A young lady would not go and say, "Dad, I'm gonna go with Elvis."
Yeah.
Dad vetted Elvis.
Yeah, exactly. Dad knew who Elvis was.
Generation. You know what I mean? He knew
He'll tell you what his dad did, what his uncle does.
100%. And Elvis would come and say, "Look at here. I'm with Juliet. I've got myself a farm. I've got 5-6 cows, and I'm ready to,
This is my future goals, plans, aspirations. This is what I want with your daughter.
Yeah, and then Dad would say,
edited version.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Dad would be cool with it. And Dad would say, Juliet, this guy seems all right. I've done his credit check.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. You go off with my man. What nowadays I think, and this is might sound a bit mad, but hey, we got to talk about this thing. Where women have been given a bit more freedom, and rightfully so, because I'm all for women and equal rights and whatnot. But I think the degree of freedom that women are exercising sometimes could be quite detrimental, because as you say, we are men. Women know themselves and sometimes need other women, as part of a sisterhood. And we've got, as men, we need a brotherhood, if you like, to keep us in check. But at the very same time, though, we know what men are like, and some women have got aspirations of men changing or becoming a certain way. But we can tell them that these guys will never change.
He's not going to change.
We know. We know.
You're not going to be the one to change it.
And sometimes when women's given all the power, in the sense of like the power of the dating location, or even the power of being able to date multiple men, that can be quite detrimental, and going back to us now, when we're trying to date women, because we know that they've got ample choices, because social media and other vehicles like that allows them to have access to more men, we are less likely to want to be invested in that chick.
You know what I mean? Very true. That's very true. That is different.
I know you mentioned social media, but I think we did skip a piece of technology, which was the mobile phone, right? Because I don't want to age myself, but I remember a time when that wasn't as prevalent.
Yeah, right? Honestly, I could say that. And the Nokia, the black and white screens. I had that. I was the guy.
I remember
Snake and then what?
I remember the anxiety to this day of when you were able to get a girl's phone number, right? You were to landline.
Yeah.
Right? This is landline.
So anybody could pick that up. Shit.
So anyone could. But that's why I raised it. That's why I raised it, because there wasn't the connection wasn't a personal thing in private, right? You had to go through the gatekeeper. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So you had to really work up the strength to pick up the phone and call, and that particular time, right? So she'd be near the phone.
Yeah.
And I remember, this is way back when, I remember just. This is before my voice even broke. Right? This is how far back we're going. I remember calling up a girl, and what I would do is I would pretend to be a girl. You know what I mean? So I'd be like, and I was really good at it because I genuinely remember I was on the phone one time. I was like, "Hi, yeah," and then the mum was talking to me, and I was like, "Oh God." And I'm having a full-on conversation. But then I remember one day, I called. I tried to pull the same thing, but my voice is breaking, right? And the mum got really suspicious. She was just like, "Oh, you sound a bit different." I was like, I remember that was the last time I did it. But the point I was making is, that was a massive change when everyone got their own phone. You can now get straight access. So the gatekeepers, the ones that are there to protect, really, out of the equation, and that creates its own culture. And then you add on to that social media, which then injects trend into the communications. And you've suddenly got, we hear about those Instagram girls that are going over to Dubai and or wherever, and certain things happening out there. You've just an entire world has opened up that wasn't there before, So, like now, what would I say to the younger me?
Yeah, exactly.
What? I think that's, if anything, that's an interesting question. What would you say?
In today's world?
Yeah. What advice would we give?
Keep playing football.
Exactly. I would say to myself, concentrate on yourself, be a better person, like financial security, and just know yourself. Health is wealth for me. And so I would say concentrate on yourself, and what will be. Don't be chasing
Yeah, it's hard though, isn't it? Because when we're at that age, that's when the testosterone is the highest, and that's all we want to do. I think if I'm talking to a younger me, I'm saying, first of all, you have to stay true to your values. If you see yourself as like a traditional guy, then exactly what you're saying is spot on. Like, as far as I'm concerned, your younger age, when you've got all that energy, you need to be making sure you're financially secure. You need to be looking after your health, looking after your body. You need to be working yourself into like the alpha male role. Do you get what I mean? And I think the good thing about now is that if you're also in that perspective, in that mindset, and you're working towards those goals, technology also is a wonderful thing. So to get you through, like back in our day, the only way you could meet a girl is if you happened to bump into her on the street and you'd go up to her and you'd ask for a number. Now you could be in your bed, and just swipe, so the access is there. But if you're looking for that, that actual, like that day one, that ride or die to the end, 100% agree with you. You got to be like working on yourself, building that financial security, and fulfilling that role. Because I think, ideally speaking, most women tend to, when we're looking at like the normal distribution, lie in the center, and they want a man who's going to lead, who's going to provide that sense of security and support.
I'll just add one in there. So I know at the moment a lot of kids go to I say kids, this age group, they go to uni and all that. They get like what is perceived as education, but I think there's also a thing about self-awareness, knowledge of what's going on in the environment, the era, etc., beyond what you're studying in the classroom. Because I think if I look back at myself in that time, I could have paid a lot more attention to a lot more things that would have made me better or make better choices. And now, like you say, with technology, much more easier to know what's going on in current affairs, or even if you want to look back in history, like, do you remember how we had to do history lessons?
Bro, I had to go to the library.
Get a book, bro. Now my son just goes on.
Couple clicks to Google.
So there's so much more opportunity
out there,
for personal growth, development. Adding on to what you say, that backs you up to be able to do those financial things and all that.
But do you know what, it's really interesting, because you've got cultures who don't date; they just marry off the jump, and the relationship basically just lasts for as long as humanly possible. In most cases, I'm not sure about that.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think those relationships do that?
Because of low body count. right? There is a genetic element in that. There's a reason,
and it's duty.
And it's duty, and there's there's shame if you break the bond.
Exactly.
There's a community.
It's the lesser of evil. So there's so much more weighing on the other side. That means the other option is almost irrelevant and worthless.
But from a Western point of view, from the point of view from our daily experience, the experience of dating has allowed me to make better choices. So, because I made some terrible mistakes along the way, and it's, yeah, you know about them, innit? But the point is, so actually, I know about yours too. But at the same time, though, you know, he has shaped me, and he's made me understand the kind of caliber of women that I should be going for. But I will say this, though. And I think I want to touch back on the body count thing, because it does affect men too. It does affect men. Don't just think it's a girl thing, you know, because there's a point, I had to literally go on a sex fast, celibacy, for a couple of years to kind of purge.
Sex fast, not sex fest.
Yeah, sex fast. Yeah, but I had to purge myself of any form of sexual contact with any women, because I realised back then, especially when I was embarking sort of casual dating, as some people like to call it, that I wasn't as emotionally involved in the females that had good intentions towards me. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So I had to make a conscious decision, even to the point where I think when I broke it, do you remember I was dating this girl? You were like, dude, are you sure this is the right woman to date? Do you remember? Because I was trying, because I just came out of it, and I was trying to look for different substance, for something different, because I was just going on a madness.
I agree with that, but again, I think that is they're still select. A lot of guys, that's a problem a lot of men will never have. They just won't. In this day and age, in this era, there's that, you know, that is testament to a category of man that you fit into. And I think you're right, it is a potential danger, but there's a lot of guys that, you know, getting in the game, getting a woman is a big win for guys, especially in this day and age. I think you're right, there is a danger. But I was going to pick up on that point, which is you know, for men, kind of dating, we learn and we grow, and I don't think we're as affected as women are. You know, because women obviously tend to be more emotional. They tend to bond and connect far greater than men do. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you know, even let's not forget that the industry of dating, and if you look closely at that, I mean, I think it was Kevin Samuels that spoke about that, which was saying that, you know, a lot the concept of dating was really introduced post the Second World War, and it's about pushing things. It's about getting guys buying and going out, and because think about it, if dating didn't exist, there'd be an entire economy that would disappear,
just vanish.
Do you know what I mean? So there's a big industry element
that profits from
around
dating.
it. Yeah, but going back to what would you tell your younger self? What advice would you give your younger self if you could in this context? I think for me it would really be listen to what they do, not what they say.
Yeah.
Oh.
And what I mean by that
is different, boy.
Deep for a second.
Yeah,
deep moving there.
The reason why I say that is someone will, and this goes generally in life.
Yeah, right? I say the same thing. 100%.
In life, someone will always show you who they are, right? Eventually, time will always show, or they'll show you up, show you front up, but you then decide to package something and say, well, actually, that she didn't really mean it like that, or you will lie to yourself.
Yeah,
but it really comes down because you said something about women wanting that strong leader type, right? Yeah, they say that. A lot of women say that, but then you go and you do the leader thing, and then there's an issue.
Yeah.
Right? Then what do you mean? We haven't discussed this. Right? So but then the thought you wanted the leader. So
Putting my foot down.
But do you know what I mean? But it goes right back to really how look at the behaviour, because that's ultimately gonna, and also look at their mum.
Yeah.
Because
If they have one.
if they have one,
Yeah.
or mum and dad, or look at that.
Look at their family.
Yeah,
dynamics,
don't just go for the looks, bro. If I could grab myself,
Yeah. Oh.
don't just look at that, because it don't.
It's a problem though, because as men, it's like a faulty economy. As men, we're wired that way. We are wired to look at the young, beautiful women and almost ignore the women who don't fit that protocol. So you get that kind of distorted marketplace.
We want a beautiful woman, don't we? We want an attractive woman, because that's what. Because we are creatures of we are hunters, we're predators. So we want to pursue something that we consider to be prizeful.
Yeah.
So
of value,
of value, absolutely. Not just to ourselves,
Yeah.
but to like, yo, boys, look
at this thing.
Yeah,
you know.
it's not just cosmetic though. There is an element there which is genetically.
Yeah.
We're thinking about health and strength, and you know
how well you're going to be able to
exactly
mother my children.
That's it, and you're gonna, it's just part of us. If she's coming in, and she's a bit like that. Then
I didn't even see the
just
Terry's like, I still would, but
I'm just saying.
keep the shades on. Keep the shades on.
I'm just saying, not as symmetrical, but that's genetics. We can't. I know there's a lot of this whole body positivity. There's a lot of things in culture and society now, but there is, we are wired to, the Fibonacci sequence and the whole thing about symmetry. That's just what we're drawn to, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why Hollywood, all the actors look the same. Effectively, variations on the theme, but they look the same because that's what we like to see.
Yeah. This one's for Wayne. What was your worst dating experience?
Worst dating experience. Oh, I don't know if you've got time for me to go through the whole story, but I'm gonna try and shorten it down. So, a long time ago, when I was a young man, there was this girl who I met at work. I think Terry might even know her, and she was really, I think it almost goes back to the theme of the red flag we were talking about earlier. She was really strong onto me. And I was a bit like,
I think
and she was like, no, let's do this thing. So I said, all right, let's do it. Yeah. So we went out for a date. And we went to a restaurant. We ordered food. I actually think we paid 50-50. That was a long time ago. I actually think we split the bill. And so I was a bit indifferent to this guy. I was like, maybe we can talk on the phone. Maybe we can go on another date, and I can overlook the flaws. But by the time I left and I was walking down the street, my phone was like, bling. And I was like, I looked at it and she was like, oh, really had a lovely time with you. Can't wait to meet up again. And I was like, okay, it's a bit soon, but all right, cool. I let it ride. Didn't really respond to it. A bit too, red flags are jumping now. I'm like, I let it roll. Got home, and then I checked my phone, and I had 4 other messages. Oh, you haven't responded. When can we have our next date? It was really coming on. And I was like, yeah, red flags. I'm mad. So I was like, obviously I'm young, innit?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do? I'm a ghost. Oh, my days. Got to work. Well, I think it was a week later. And I'm at work. And then one of the managers comes across and goes, oh, what's her name's on the phone? She wants to talk to you. And I'm like, she's ringing the work phone. So I'm like, it's work now. So I've got to go to the phone. So I'll go to the phone. We got the phone. I'm like, hey. And she's like, you ain't called me back. What's going on? I love you. And I'm like, this is really getting peak now. And she's like, when I see you next, I'm going to stab you. And I was like,
what are you doing to these chicks, Wayne, man?
I'm not going to lie to you. When I walked home that night, my head was in a swivel, bro. I genuinely feared for my life. Yeah, that was too much. That's probably the worst dating experience I had.
Pascal?
Yeah.
Worst dating experience?
So, do you remember the MSN days?
Yeah.
MSN chat. So,
a black chat.
So I was talking to this girl, and we're talking for quite a while.
Yeah.
I was always be like, show me a picture. Let me see what you look like. This and that. She's this and this. So anyway, one of my boys must have linked one of her friends, and was like, yeah, she's all good, don't worry, this and this. So like, cool. So it's my first and last blind date. So she's like, meet up at, I won't say the station. And she's like, oh, you'll know me because I'm walking my dog. Bruv, I took one look at the dog. The dog looked better, and I had to just like cut.
Goes to the street.
Let me just walk the other way, bro. But actual like date that I went on that wasn't so great was just I think there was one that I had where literally it was just I felt like my whole life was planned for me. Wow. I was told how many kids I would have, what sequence of hair, and I mean, if you see my hair, you can't really guess it. That was, we didn't call her back.
Was she a Jehovah's Witness or something?
Do you know, again, it was one of those few times where I kind of like just met someone and was like, let's do something. Vibes and everything was really cool. Got there and she was like, you know, I could really see us doing this and we could do, and I was like, I must have been like 22. I was like, I can't see any of this. I can just about see next week.
That's good.
Is it ever right to like ghost? I have to ask this question. Like,
yeah, I think so.
When the dog looks better, yes. And she'll never see this because we cut all communication.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't care how that sounds.
Yeah. I mean, that spares feelings in some sense. If you like, because that's always the question. Like, do you just see it and say, they catfish the shit out of me?
Yeah, you just got cut certain times. Like,
I've come back from ghosting once and it leaves an imprint.
Is it?
So I would stay ghosted. That's what I mean. Stay ghosted.
She's telling you the time and the date.
She was like, do you remember that time when... Seriously, I heard it. Like, do you remember that time when you cut me out for 2 weeks?
French.
I remember one time, for last day, it's a girl you set me up with, bro. This girl would not shut up, bro. I couldn't even get a word in. And you know what the worst thing is, and this is why sometimes I despise women like that. When you blatantly still not over your ex, and you decide to put yourself in the market for Mandem to chirp you, and I thought, do you know what, you're not ready to move on. You know, all she could talk about was her ex, and all I can think about was Terry. It's like, bro, why did you set me up with this chick?
Did you pay for the date? Did you pay for the date?
I paid for the date.
Should have got him to pay, bro.
You provided the service.
He was there,
She's venting in that. You're a psychologist there.
Terry might know what I'm talking about.
That was a suspect source.
And Terry would encourage me. Terry said, don't worry, like, just chill, just stay in there. She likes you, man. Bro, what she talks about is her ex, though, man. Like, literally. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm literally paying for this woman to I feel like I was a therapist. Yeah, that was the worst date, bro. Terry, you owe me for this.
£75 an hour too, you know. Those things.
I'll sort you out, man.
Yeah, bro.
I'll be.
Yeah, so my worst dating experience, okay, I guess one of the worst was, and so I've done also a little bit of international dating as well, right? So not just UK dating outside of the UK. And,
all right, playboy.
International lover boy.
But I think that
Stamped.
Yeah, but it's a global market. Women that can enjoy the opportunities the world has to offer. I'm on a date. It's a really nice restaurant, having a really great time. The waiter comes over and says, would you like to order something to drink? I said, yeah, sure. You sat there with it, of course. Like I said, do you want to maybe we'll get a bottle, right? We'll get a bottle of something, and we can share it and just enjoy having a nice time. So, the guy comes over with the menu and it says there's always different drinks, and and it's my own fault, right? Looking back at it, it's my own fault, and because I approached it like it was London. Okay, it's not London. So I was like, we'll go for a bottle of wine. We'll just, I don't mind. Just, pick.
You said you choose.
Yeah. So I was like, we'll just we'll just, not to her, to the guy.
Oh, to the waiter.
To the waiter, right? Because there's an element, not to her.
Like, we're men.
But exactly.
Yeah,
there's an element of trust. Yeah. Right? But listen, you have to understand when if you're in an international kind of context,
third world country.
you're
You're a pound.
You're
a pound
you're
coin.
walking,
Yeah.
especially if you're British. You're moving
All
with
they see is
sterling,
money.
right? So exactly. So then we were like, oh yeah, okay, we'll just go for it because it was. I wasn't going for. I wouldn't say champagne or anything like that. I said wine. Okay. Yeah. And then so they come back out with sparkler. Right.
Oh, you know his problems. You already know. You better get onto the phone to your bank manager, like. Then obviously I woke up and realised this guy's, getting another mortgage off the back of me. Right? So
kids' uni is patient.
And then we sat there and started, we're going for this one. So it was around about. What was it? Just over $200, and
for the bottle of drink.
For the bottle.
In a third world country.
Yeah, but the date was there. She's looking at me. The guy's looking at me with the menu. Yeah. So well, of course I'm like, yeah, sure, no worries, it's fine. But but like I said, it's a learning experience. Yeah. But for me, it was you need to always don't get too comfortable. Yeah. Always be, on your toes. Yeah. Always be sharp. Do you know what I mean? On your
remember,
feet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for me, my worst dating experience was there's this girl. You just got the red flag straight away. Yeah, like she take ages to respond to your calls and texts and stuff like that. So I went out with her one time, and it was a nice vibe, man. Like we're drinking and catching joke and stuff like that. I think she was drinking a bit too much. Oh. And then so I was like, I went to the toilet, innit? Come back. Go smooching some other guy.
What?
Yeah.
What? Some dude in the place you were at?
Yeah.
Some random guy?
Some random guy.
You just went to the toilet?
Literally
How long were you away?
For about 4 minutes, man. About 4 minutes, literally.
So you didn't even go for a dump or nothing?
Yeah. No. Straight number one.
That is...
I just left.
That's mad.
By the time you started walking back,
I ducked out, man. I ghosted.
Well, he'd be paying,
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's his property now. He's got people to pay.
Yeah, bro.
You kiss it, you pay it, man.
Yeah. Let me order the shrimp with that.
Standard, man. So obviously you can see we've all had different experiences from the dating experience. Dating kind of thing, we all come from like different kind of backgrounds and stuff like that, but just be sure in it. Anything else to add, guys?
I think listening to you guys, because different experiences. Obviously I got 2 sons, and listening to you guys has given me more breadth of thought, because I would just think, like you see at the beginning I was a bit like, huh? But as you guys have been talking and all that, I've got a different viewpoint, different understanding, and my boys aren't going to be me.
Yeah.
The more insight you can have, the better, innit?
Yeah, and absolutely. And you know what? As we've done this, that I think, for me, this is a lot of fun. It's great camaraderie, entertainment. But if the next generation or younger group can watch this. Take some stuff, and learn from our mistakes. Always watch the menu, man. You know what I mean? Don't be too slick and loose when it comes to that. But but it's that sort of thing. It's the things that I wish, because of the technology that we can do it now. But things I would have loved to have known when I was growing up and when I was moving into manhood. So if there are things that we can do in that way, I think that's great.
100, man. Like, look, I'm going to be the gatekeeper because I've got daughters. So, I'm going to be involved in every aspect of their dating relationship. I want them to talk to me about it. I want to know who they like. I want to know what they don't like. And I want to coach them along the way, because I know what time it is, and I know what I did, and I know what I didn't do. And I'm hoping that, these conversations and my experience will also shape not just my kids, but, any men and female out there that genuinely wants to have the best chances of forming a relationship. Because at the end of the day, right, it's beautiful being with somebody that cares about you and you care about them. And, but, how it begins is very important, because that will set the tone forever, in my opinion. I think that
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys have said. I think it's big to hopefully pass on something to the younger generation who are starting to date, and hopefully to learn from our mistakes. I've got a couple boys, and you know, there's lots that I'm already kind of thinking how I talk to them and how I kind of express. And I agree, you know, it's a lot. There's nothing more beautiful than forming a deep connection with somebody and actually being with that person. But unfortunately, the way that the world is at the moment, I feel like it's almost all engineered that doesn't happen, or it's more tricky for that to happen. So to be able to navigate that minefield and actually come out on top, you know, is a win. And if we can drop any nuggets that can help younger guys out there do that, then it's a win.
Definitely.
Peace.